So then going on to the rigging, the first thing is just when you ideally have get your mast down and just go through your rigging before the event with a fine tooth comb, particularly around all these little ferrules here, and just check for any little broken wires, because you look at them and they look fine, you've been sailing, but just the start of one little wire being broken and you're going to lose the mast or something. When it comes down, you break your battens, you screw up your mainsail and everything, so make sure everything's in order. I actually just go through and check every single one, and even take a soft cloth and just wipe it up the length of each one, and if you feel it hook, you might have a little, they do snap mid-wire as well, so just be very careful on that. When you take it down as well, it's the shackles on the top of the hind. Always re-tighten them. Some of the main shackles often got a little hole through the pin that goes through. I actually just take a little bit of binding wire and tie it through there, then I know it's never going to come down. I've had that come loose before and the mast drop back and fall, and it really causes a lot of damage, so you don't want that. The other thing on your rigging to make sure is, particularly with fairly new rigging, is after you've put it up, it actually does stretch, believe it or not. I think it just sort of binds in itself. So you set everything up, you'll sailing it, particularly in a strong wind, it will stretch and you'll find your rig different. It affects how you sheet in your main and that, which we're going to go through later. But just keep, check, it does stretch. And also measure, I know it happens quite often, is that the side shrouds are different lengths. And you can never, I'm going to show you how to check your Mast Rake. And you check it one day and it's this, and the next day you check the other side and it's different. These are often different lengths. So, when it's on the ground, make sure they're the same length. And also make sure they're all legal, to the legal limits in that. I'm just trying to think what else in rigging. That's about it really.
The trapeze lines, they have to be steel, eh?
Yes.
There's no...
Still has to be steel.
Okay.
These ones are all correct. The only thing I'd say, the way you set this up is a little bit incorrect, which we'll go through now. We've got to undo this anyway to do the rake. Let me just undo that. Also these elastics, always check them as well, because they do tend to go as well. And I tighten this one up a little bit. When it's dragging like that, you'll find when you come in, it's always out in the wrong place. So I'll actually tighten up the elastic a little bit on that one. Okay, so I'm just going to move on. While we're on rigging, I'm going to actually just go and just do Mast Rake. So one of the things with your boat is Mast Rake makes a huge difference to your boat. In what way? I'm not even going to try and debate. There's so many different theories in that. But the importance I find is you've got to have a datum to work off, so that when you set up your boat, every time it's set up the same. A little adjustment on this bridle here at the front on this makes a huge difference to your Mast Rake. If I tighten it up, it will bring it right forward. And you must remember, I'm moving the top of the mast, where a lot of your effort is at the top of your sail. So you need a way to make sure that your mast, every time you set it up, is the same place. Whether you adjust it after that doesn't matter, but just that you've got a datum. And when you sail a race well and you feel everything feels good, next time you rig, it's exactly the same again. And that's the key about it. So when we talk about rake, there's two things. Well, with your whole mast setup, there's the rake and the rig tension. Okay, so this is the tension, how easy the mast moves around and how easily it rotates. So that's important. It must be able to rotate. And then the rake is the forward and aft movement. When you do your rake, all you do is you worry about this here. Don't even worry about your side shrouds, because when you're sailing, you're shooting in on your main, your mast is always pulled back hard. So the side stays make no difference to Mast Rake whatsoever. You actually don't need them there theoretically. Well, you do tell the master, but in that direction. So the way we do it, or the advised way, I don't know if somebody wants to just give me a hand here, Bernard. So you just come and stand in here. And what you do is you hold your spanner parallel to the beam, and then you just reach across here and hold it down here as well, and just keep tension on it. So basically what you're doing is, it's irrelevant why you do that. The importance is that you're working from the same position every time. So that tensions it. It's tension in your forestay, keeps it tight, and it keeps mast in one place. And then from here, I use this, just make sure it's not tangled. And I actually just mark in line with this front bridle plate, and I hold it there. And then I just swing back here, and it will tell me where it hits the deck.
Well back, eh?
It's quite back, so it's quite well back this. There's lots of articles being written about this, where the correct place is in that, but it varies on the weight of the sailors on the boat, how you sail, but this is quite far back. Some people sail with it right up here, so imagine how far we have to pull that forward. There have even been people who sail with it beyond the back transom here. The French apparently like doing that. I personally, the way I set it that the rake is about there on the back beam. And I just feel that's right for our weights and the way we sail. I'm just going to tighten this up, you can relax here for a minute. So I'm just going to adjust this. And on this, what I actually do is, when I take my mast down, is I don't bother undoing this. I just undo it over there and there, so I know this will stay exactly the same every time. And then I just check it periodically to make sure it hasn't stretched.
So you actually loosen that?
Yeah. And then I never have to worry about, it doesn't change drastically. The only thing you have to change it is the stretch. And this, I don't think stretches too much, but let's see how much difference that's made. Let's measure again. More or less right where I'd have it, somewhere around about there. It does vary a bit, but I'd go for it there. But again, if you're lighter, you might want it further back. Remember, the further back you put it, the less power you'll have in your sail. We'll see that later. We'll put the boat on the side, and you can see the effect on Mast Rake. Because remember, when the further you rake your mast back, when you shoot through the sail, you're not shooting up the leach of it, you're shooting halfway through it like that, so the top can fall over very easily in strong winds. Again, it's just that if at least if you've got this datum to work from, you know where you set it, you can feel comfortable and then adjust slightly. So the theory is, what I do anyways, I set it up there and I sell just about everything. If we know it's going to be 4-6 and really blowing, I'd most likely drop it back to about there. It just makes it a little bit easier to sheet in. But again, you don't need to do that. You can just use your traveller and your downhaul to sort of manage the strong winds, which you'll go through as well. So if we're happy with your Mast Rake, the next thing to do is look at your rig tension. And again, there's a lot of theories on this. I like it quite tight, a bit tighter than this, a little bit tighter. But the most important thing is that, is that your mast can still rotate 90 degrees. If it's so tight, so if you pull it tight like this, it can't rotate 90, but must be able to rotate 90 degrees. So when you're going downwind, you can get your sail right tight and against the shrouds. Okay, so once you've got your rake correct, and if your rig's not correct, then all you do, your tensions, all you do is adjust those then. So always start with that and then just adjust these to get it correct.